5 from you to Advocate Johnson and Mr. Sisoko, and it says Prosecutor's Memo, Leg 3, Diversion. Good afternoon, ID. This is a soft copy of the document submitted earlier, so you had taken a hard copy to her.
We had submitted a hard copy, the original signed copy by both Advocate Shlaswai and myself, and handed it to her PA.
Okay, and then at 539 we have the memo. Maybe if you can just read, I think, the purpose, the background, and the A1 statement.
The purpose of this memorandum is to make submissions to the investigating director, ID, regarding the lack of material evidence in Leg 3 of Project Diversion. Background. In summary, the prosecutors have perused the docket containing all statements obtained to date and summarized below for Leg 3 of Diversion. It is our submission that there is currently no prima facie case. Thus, there is currently no reasonable prospect of successful prosecution. However, we include outstanding investigations.
What were the outstanding investigations?
It was investigations that we had asked Mr. Padiachi and Mr. Perumal to attend to.
Page 541.
546. And
541.
541.
I think.
No, the outstanding investigation that we attached was 545.
Okay.
And 546.
545 and 546.
Correct.
So explain that. Oh, that is your 546. I see questions for Section 28 interview, and then you have interview questions. And on page 547, you say these questions are not exhaustive but must be answered in the interview and explained in full and clear details in the affidavit. This document is not to be shared with any other person except team members and not to be given to the persons who are being interviewed. So you wanted these to be addressed even though at that stage you thought there was no prima facie case?
No. This question or document was submitted in April already of 2025.
Okay.
And the purpose of this document was to determine whether the processes of the vetting had been flouted. And the only way we were going to understand if in fact there was any corruption or flouting or whatever the case must be was to understand the inner workings of SAP's HR.
Okay, I'm with you. And so your memo was saying they must conduct, that I think is at 541, further investigations, and at 542, paragraph 505.4, please see the sheet of previous instructions drafted and shared to the investigators in April 2025 for questioning.
If commissioners will also note that in 546, there's also questions relating to the Mokwele matter that remained unanswered.
Okay, at 546.
546.
Okay.
With 545, there's section 2, capital A, 8, A and B, with regards to Major General Mudondo. It's in relation to the National Strategic Intelligence Act. It says that Major General Mudondo has 60 days from the date on which the applicant is informed of the decision, meaning that she was refused security clearance, in order to appeal to the Office of the Minister of Police. How are you going to charge someone if you don't have confirmation whether it has been referred and what the outcome of that referral is? So that is why we included this as well.
Okay. Then if we can go to 541, which is your submissions, instead of going through the affidavits. 541, 4.1 relates to the A1, which
Correct.
is Mr. Adams again. You can read that.
He's just raising concerns and opinions that the procedures and policies were severely undermined, which makes the statement hearsay. Further, A3?
A4, you can read the A4. A3 was General Mkwanazi, and A4 is General Khan.
His statement takes this case no further, as it provides an explanation of vetting processes and deals more with his own current situation than the case at hand.
What did you mean by that?
That affidavit by General Feroz Khan spoke about how General Khumalo had refused to sign off on his vetting or security clearance, as opposed to the issue of Madondo and General Khumalo allowing Madondo to continue working without clearance.
Okay. And then we've done your submissions. You can just then read the conclusion at 542. We submit.
We submit based on above that there is no prima facie case and no reasonable prospect of successful prosecution at this point.
Okay, so that was on the 7th of July that you submitted it to Advocate Johnson. There's no response, but she calls for a meeting on the 7th for the 8th.
Correct.
Okay, and the purpose of that meeting is to discuss what? Because now we know that the 6th July press briefing of General Mkwanazi has happened.
Advocate Johnson gives us various instructions on the meeting of the 8th of July.
My question is, did she tell you what the purpose of the meeting would be?
In her email?
Yes.
No.
Okay, so then we can then go to your statement on page 24, paragraph 49.
To date, we have not received a response to our 7 July 2025 memo. However, I must state that our memo of 7 July 2025 relates to the very matter wherein IDAC had intended to arrest General Khumalo and General Madondo in June 2026, which has been widely reported in the media. These warrants have since been held in abeyance. I am not aware of any new evidence that could have justified the issuing of these warrants after our memo.
Were you replaced as prosecutors? What happened to you and Ms. Latwayo, Advocate Latwayo? Because the memo was by the two of you, so I assume you were the prosecutors appointed. What happened? Were you replaced by other people?
We were replaced by a different team, or a different prosecutors under Advocate Santos Manila.
And you don't know if that team prepared a new memo disagreeing with your memo?
We were not even allowed to communicate with them. So in essence, Advocate Johnson didn't even want us to tell them that we'd prepared a memo, that there's no prima facie case.
Okay, you can continue in 49. This just further demonstrates to you, I think you must say.
This just further demonstrates to me the determination with which this project was conducted. In my view, the intention was to target General Masiamola and General Khumalo until they were no longer in office. The attack against General Masiamola may have intensified when he did not suspend General Khumalo and the other accused in the Mukwele matter after their arrests. Because during the 8th of July 2025 meeting, Advocate Johnson made her position clear regarding General Masiamola.
And then we now go to that meeting of 8 July 2025, and this topic is further instructions regarding General Masiamola. For this, I'll ask the commissioners to go to file 11, page 60, which is your notes, your written notes, handwritten notes. And you can just tell us who was present at that meeting before you deal with what was discussed in the meeting. So, are you on page 60?
Sunil, Dylan, Brian, Tsepo, Pat, and Charles.
And you, yes. Okay. And it's diversion?
The first part of the meeting was diversion. If I can just elaborate on how the meeting started. Advocate Johnson said, the day before, on the 7th of July, Advocate Johnson had made a comment to Advocate Slatswayo and myself, saying that she can see that Mr. Perumal is bullying Advocate Slatswayo and myself. However, when she started, and she was going to deal with it in the meeting the next day. However, on the 8th of July, the meeting started with, I'm not going to deal with the meeting how everyone thinks I'm going to do it. And Advocate Slatswayo and I were chastised or scolded for and made to give an updated report on the two matters that were in court.
Meeting, is any one of these people a DDPP?
No.
Thank you.
she had given us instructions with Lushaba that on or before the 30th of July, it must be signed off by Sissoko on a letterhead, and that the index of the docket must be disclosed and signed off by Chief, being Mr. Perumal. So there was...
Was that regular practice that the investigator would sign off on what is discovered?
No, Commissioner. It's also not procedure that we don't get the original docket, but when it comes to that team, we only get scanned copies.
Yes. And who would sign ordinarily, sign off on what gets disclosed?
The indexes that I've done, it's myself and the investigator that would sign off on the index itself.
Thank you.
Okay, I think you can go to your statement and we'll display your notes so you can read from paragraph 50.
At the meeting of the 8th of July, 2025, Advocate Johnson, amongst others, instructed us as follows. The only person who can veto Mr. Perumal is Mr. Sissoko. The case strategy is supposed to be led by a prosecutor. However, the case strategy would be led by Mr. Perumal, and he has carte blanche. In other words, the investigator was in charge of the prosecution-led investigation, and the prosecutors had to defer to Mr. Perumal. All information regarding the case strategy had to be sent to by Mr. Perumal, not the prosecutors. I think we just need to correct that. Had to be sent by, not to Mr. Perumal. By Mr. Perumal, not the prosecutors. Mr. Sissoko and Advocate Johnson would sign a letter addressed to Digital Forensic Services for a quick snapshot analysis of data on Mr. Matlala's devices.
And for that, we'll go to 62 of the notes, the handwritten notes, Commissioners, we're there now. So 50.4 is the analysis from the forensic services. The analysis had to
focus on whether any communication was found on the devices between or relating to the following persons: Minister Mkunu, Brown Mokhotsi, General Becky Cele, NASCOM General Masiamula, General Sabia, General Bongani Ngwenya.
I think on your notes you have more, so it just ends on 4. But if we go to page 63 of your notes, you can explain.
Andrew Chauke, as number 7, is the DPP of Johannesburg South prosecution. Advocate Johnson had indicated that she had received a formal reference from NDPP, being Advocate Shamila Batohi, to investigate Andrew Chauke. At this point, when we are being asked to do a digital snap analysis, there's not even authorized 2813 into Advocate Chauke. And even though it was referred by the NDPP, there still needs to be an authorization. The other thing that was very concerning about number 7 is that how did Advocate Johnson or Advocate Batohi get information to link Advocate Chauke to Mr. Matlala's devices? Number 8 was the most distressing for me, and it's one of the reasons I will explain later. Advocate Johnson indicated that there must be a snapshot analysis on Mr. Matlala's phone to link Fani Masimola's daughter.
To link the National Commissioner's daughter to Kat Matlala's devices.
Correct.
Okay. Can we go back? We'll keep displaying your notes because I'm following on both, but can we go to paragraph 51?
Before I continue with the other instructions, it should be mentioned that this meeting was held after General Mkhonazi's 6 July 2025 media briefing. The name...
Sorry, Mr. Ramsamy, let me ask about this list. Was an explanation given why there should be a snapshot view or look you've referred well, I think with Chauke you say she said she had received a referral or information from the NDPP then about General Masemola's daughter. Was there an explanation offered?
Commissioner, as I've been explaining constantly, there's never an explanation, but Advocate Johnson always has this information and then she issues instructions. It's the same thing as I explained with where Mr. Hudson works and how he was supposed to be picked up. She always had the information, but she never divulged. However, I did explain that there was always undertones that Mr. Perumal Beluchin and Mr. Padiachi and Advocate Johnson knew exactly what was happening, and we were playing catch-up, but not fast enough.
In the meeting, she didn't say why. Are we looking at
No, she did not.
connection with the daughter? Thank you.
Okay, back to 51. So you say it's after the briefing, and then you say the names.
The names of Minister Mkunu Mr. Brown Mokhotsi and General Sabia had been mentioned during the media briefing. I could understand why there would be a focus on communication between Mr. Matlala and these individuals on the device, and perhaps even General Cele. However, General Masemola's name seemed misplaced to me. There was no suggestion that he was linked to Mr. Matlala. And at this stage, even IDAC's own Section 28(1) process had not mentioned General Masemola, nor had there been any links between Mr. Matlala and General Masemola mentioned. Back to the instructions. Advocate Johnson instructed that we must determine from Mr. Matlala's devices if there's any link to Advocate Andrew Chauke, because Advocate Johnson had received a formal referral from the NDPP, being Advocate Batohi. There was no further elaboration. I have not seen this formal referral. Advocate Johnson also said, that the snap search analysis on Mr. Matlala's devices should look for links with General Masemola's daughter. Advocate Johnson then went away for a week, and she wanted a full briefing the following week when she returned.
Before you go there, can we just go back to your note? There's an aspect that you don't deal with in your statement, but that is in your notes. On page 61, at the bottom of page 61, and just to highlight to the commissioners that you explained that the numbering in the bottom left corner of these notes, starting on page 60, has the number 1 in a circle. Then we have number 2 on page 61, but then it jumps to 4. You indicated there's not a page 3 missing, it's just...
My dyslexia.
Yeah, it seems to be prominent in this team here. Then if you can, so we're not missing a page, so if you can just deal with what the bottom instruction is. ID will read the docket, and this related now to, as you said, the 2 memos that you and Advocate Lachwayo prepared on the General Masemola and the General Kumalo matters,
Correct.
leg 3 and 4. Leg 4, we know that she was in agreement with you, but now here's the change, because now she wants input from the investigators. She's now wants their input as to whether there is a case, and she will consider both.
If I may quote what was said, the investigators must do a report to show and explain to the prosecutors what evidence is in the docket.
Okay, so in other words, your mind will be changed after that, or she's going to take their views.
Correct.
Okay.
The latter.
And then, but then she says, according to your notes, both sides to give report, and then you say on the next page, but this is on hold for 2 reasons. So what are the 2 reasons? That now the investigations into General Masemola and General Kumalo Madondo, why are those on hold? That's how I understand it. There are 2 reasons.
It's the correct understanding. The first is that we must do nothing else but the Matlala tender dockets. So all our concentration must be on that matter. And then the KZN Mkwenazi gauntlet. So they were waiting for the dust of the 6th July media briefing to die down.
Before they were going to revive the Masemola, General Masemola investigation.
Correct. On the meeting of the 1st of September, 2025, where Advocate Johnson strongly informed Advocate Hlatswayo and myself that the two matters will be enrolled.
Okay. Then we can go back to your statement, paragraph 53 on page 26.
Advocate Johnson then went away for a week, and she wanted a full briefing the following week when she returned. She indicated to the prosecutors that she no longer wanted email correspondence going forward, but preferred office notes. The office notes must be signed by the person receiving it and a copy filed in the office file. And that both dockets for the arrest of General Masiamula Kumalo and General Mudondo Kumalo must be provided to her office. After this meeting...
Sorry, can I just say, insofar as this instruction that there must be no email correspondence, there is also from the 1 September meeting, where Advocate Johnson repeats that instruction, that because of the Madlanga Commission and the ad hoc committee, she doesn't want a paper trail effectively.
Correct.
Can you just elaborate on that for the commissioners?
Advocate Johnson became paranoid and said that her devices were being watched, etc. Also, if there's no emails like what I'm providing to the commission now, there's no proof that these things were said or done. So she wanted to curtail it.
And she specifically referenced Ms. Advocate Sarunya's email, his detailed email from August 2025, where he challenges the merits of the case as being one such email that if it got into the hands of one of either the ad hoc committee or the Madlanga Commission, these kind of things would come back to bite you.
Correct, those were her words.
You may continue.
I sent a WhatsApp to Advocate Johnson asking to be released from the matter due to safety issues. I needed a reason to get off the matters immediately. I had to put it in a way so that I would not get forced or instructed to stay on the matter. Because when you say you want to be removed or you don't want to do something that Advocate Johnson wants you to do, she will still instruct you on the matter. I just knew after this meeting that there would be more illegalities. Why would they want to look for links with General Masiamula's daughter or investigate General Masiamula insofar as Mr. Matlala is concerned, when there was absolutely nothing pointing to any link with General Masiamula? It was clear, at least to me, that General Masiamula was a target and the rules would be broken to catch him by any means necessary. All the instructions given by Advocate Johnson on that day did not sit well with me. My further concern was where was Advocate Johnson getting the information regarding the potential suspects, especially General Masiamula? When we met with General Matlala regarding this Medicare 24 matter, she indicated that we would not need to subpoena General Masiamula for documents relating to this investigation because he was cooperating. If that was the case, why would he be identified as a suspect in an investigation where he was cooperating, stating that she had discussed my request with Mr. Perumal and Sissoko, and that she was excusing Advocate Hlatswayo and me from the Medicare 24 investigation in totality, except for where she would require assistance from us, then she would ask. She indicated that she herself would be the prosecutor on the matter until she finds a senior.
Conclusion?
I hope that my testimony will be of assistance to the Commission. I have not dealt with all the events that transpired in between these main events set out in my two statements, such as Mr. Rapesu's victimization regarding the Nkabinde matter, and I have elaborated on this during my oral testimony. This does not mean that this testimony is not important or less important than what is contained in my two statements. The victimization of officials in the office is a serious matter that warrants attention. In conclusion, let me say that I had to strike a balance between the good IDAC and the bad IDAC, as General Mkhwanazi had called it. there are very good people that work at IDAC and who do amazing work in the pursuit of justice. I hope that we will not be painted, we will all not be painted with the same tainted brush as Advocate Johnson and the investigators, Mr. Perumal, Padiachi, and Belochin, that she allowed to compromise the integrity of IDAC as an institution. There's just one aspect that I missed in August. On the 8th of August last year, a member of Mr. Perumal's team contacted me telephonically and had indicated that Mr. Perumal, Mr. Padiachi, and another senior state advocate were plotting to have me arrested so that I could be discredited before any commissions or committees could be established.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsamy. Chair, that is the evidence of this witness. Finally, we are done.
I'm sorry to
Okay, not quite.
Yeah, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I was promised that you will answer my question, and we didn't get there. About, I had asked you about, and it arose rather in the context of the General Matlo report, and which doesn't make any allegations against General Masemula. And then I asked a process question: under what circumstances would you keep from the head of institution or even a manager your investigations and keep them completely in the dark? In this case, the cases where the National Commissioner may not have been aware, under what circumstances, as a matter of practice or protocol even?
There should never be such an instance, ever.
Yeah. Unless, of course, they are a suspect.
Unless
No?
they are a suspect.
Yes.
But if we had to go back to the preliminary report, firstly, it was mandated by General Masemula. Secondly, during the preliminary, and there was no findings of General Masemula being involved in any form. So that is why it raised serious concerns as to why he's now being mentioned to be investigated, to be linked to.
All right, thank you. And then second question, this note that we end up with, it's on the 8th of July. So that must mean, and maybe I'm stating the obvious just for you for the record, that must mean that when Ms. Johnson was testifying before the ad hoc committee, that there was never an investigation into the National Commissioner in particular, that evidence would have been false, again.
Correct, and Commissioner Beloy, it was after listening to her testimony that I contacted the DPCI again to say, I have proof in the form of an affidavit from the 1st of April that Advocate Johnson deceived the ad hoc committee.
Okay, thank you. And then lastly, I think she was asked a question about prosecutions for Public Finance Management Act infractions. And this relates directly to, arises from the charges against the National Commissioner. And I don't remember the exact formulation of the question, but her answer was, we have prosecuted people for pure public finance management contraventions that is similar to what, and I paraphrase, similar to what the National Commissioner is facing or charged with. The question is there such a history, and where, and in particular, such charges not linked to allegations of corruption or charges of corruption under PRECA or other relevant legislation?
Commissioner, with regards to the matters that I have worked on and the matters that are now set down for trial, we have never charged only on PFMA. There's always predicate offenses that, and then the PFMA. So the matters that I am currently involved in with PFMA is a charge No, we've always linked the person to something else.
Thank you.
That actually accords with our interpretation, which we put to Advocate Johnson and I think some other witness after her. Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. That's it for the business.
Thank you. We may have to wait, but maybe outside for Advocate Chaskalson. When we adjourn, if we are to grant the witness P application, we want to adjourn for the day in open session. But Ms. Ramsamy, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioners.
We truly appreciate you sitting here for days and days. Thank you very much.
Sure.
You are excused. Perhaps let's, anything to say, Mr. Ramazekisa?
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. I think I just have to use it also just on one issue.
Yes.
Am I getting cross-examined by my own counsel?
Not at all. We knowing how the commissions operate, you know that at some point we are afforded an opportunity to re-examine certain issues. So there is just one issue that I just want your understanding. In paragraph 52 of your supplementary affidavit, it is your evidence here that there was an instructions that was given from the former NDPP to Advocate Johnson, wherein you were given instructions to determine if there are links between the phone of Mr. Matlala and Advocate Jauke. And I'm asking this on the background that it is in the public domain that we know that there was a Nkabinde inquiry wherein the NDPP, former NDPP was a complainant of some sort. So I want to check as to did this instruction relates to that or it related to other things pertaining to what you are stating here? Because for Advocate Jauke's name just to come from the blue from the former NDPP, it's just surprising.
I'm going to give you an observation that I made, and then, but first let me answer the referral. I had seen it, but I was not able to read it. It was flashed in front of us in a meeting in Advocate Johnson's office, but it was signed by Advocate Batohi. And once again, I found the timing very, very coincidental that Advocate Batohi was asking IDAC to investigate Advocate Jauke because it was at the time that the president was about to announce the Nkabinde inquiry. So it didn't make sense. Why are we investigating? Are we doing a parallel investigation? Or are we trying to add meat to Nkabinde's inquiry or Nkabinde inquiry? Have I answered you?
You said you were going to answer and then you're going to have an observation. So have you done both or?
Yes, Commissioner Kumalo, my observation was with regards to the timing.
Okay.
Thank you again. You are excused.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Ramatsekisa and your team, you are also excused.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Miss. Yes, Mr. Chaskalson.
Thanks, Chair. Should I not wait for Ms. Ramsamy to leave?
Right,
I'm happy to move now.
I see, whilst Ms. Ramsamy is walking out, I looked at Mr. Maga. It looked like he wanted me to specifically say that he too is excused. You are excused, Mr. Mark.